Ja Morant is one of the more controversial players in the NBA. Of course, we all know the stuff he's done off the court, but on the court, he's an amazing player. And I think we as NBA fans, and especially a lot of these people that are ranking stuff, have forgot exactly how good Ja Morant is and that he really is one of the best players in the league. And they're not ranking him like that. The ESPN and Bleacher Report list came out recently about their top 100 players going into next season. And I can't lie, it's kind of crazy where they ranked Ja Morant. At Bleacher Report, they ranked him 21st. Now, that's not as bad as ESPN, but they ranked him below players like Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, De'Aaron Fox is going down the list, Jamal Murray, Anthony Edwards, Dame. That's kind of where the point is, where, it's fair to say Dame is better than Ja. I don't get how you come to a consensus that Jamal Murray is worse than Ja Morant. And I don't like going against that because I like Jamal Murray. I was personally a fan of him back in 2019, 2020, even before the bubble run. I like Jamal Murray. I think he's a good player. I think we are overhyping him. He's good. I think we're overhyping him a bit. But I don't get how you watch a full season of Jamal Murray and Ja Morant and come to the conclusion that Jamal Murray is a better NBA player, better at the game of basketball than Ja Morant. Same with De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron Fox had an amazing season. Kings had an amazing season. This isn't trying to take away from them. They are great players. But Ja Morant is just so much better. And the one that especially outrages me, Jaylen Brown. Or I won't let a ranking outrage me, but just the one that's outrageous, Jaylen Brown. You have Jaylen Brown as a better basketball player than Ja Morant. That just does not make sense. And then you look back at the year before, Ja Morant is ranked 10th. And this point is going to be addressed later. But Ja Morant is ranked 10th. How did he fall 11 spots? What did Paul George do last season to be declared better than Ja Morant? He was 5 spots or so behind Ja Morant. He was 5 spots behind Ja Morant, Paul George, last year. And now Paul George is 3-4 spots ahead of Ja Morant. That doesn't make sense. What did Paul George do to be considered a better basketball player? He didn't do anything to be considered a better basketball player last year. And this isn't going against Paul George. I think he's a great player. I think he's probably a top 25-ish player. When he's on the court, he's amazing. Great 3-and-D guy. Very smooth basketball. Very fun to watch. The dude played 56 games last year compared to Ja's 61, so I don't want to hear he stayed on the court. He averaged 23.8 points on 46% shooting. And it wasn't like his defense was otherworldly. Don't get me wrong, he has good defense. His defense didn't take some huge jump where he should be considered better. I don't get what he did to become better. And the ESPN one is even worse. And this also is just a product of us. I don't think I did, because I moved my players very slowly on rankings. I'll admit sometimes that makes me wrong. I think I'm going to be wrong on Shea because I have him at the 15-ish area when he's considered almost top 10 now. I think he's going to probably become even better and maybe even get into the top 10 next season. But right now I have him at 15-ish because I'm very slow to move players. Ja Morant last year, ESPN ranked him 9th. And that is a product of these sites trying to get clicks, so they're going to rank players that have a lot of hype higher, which is fair. It's all trying to get as many clicks as possible, so it's fair to rank them higher. 9th was kind of outrageous. Now you rank him at 35. ESPN thinks Ja Morant is the 35th best player, below guys like Mikal Bridges, Jaren Jackson Jr., Paolo Banchero. I'm a huge Magic supporter. I think the Magic are going to be one of the best teams in the league soon. In a few years, Paolo's not better than him right now. Lauri Markkanen. They think Lauri Markkanen is 7 players better than Ja Morant. They think Brandon Ingram. They think Drew Holiday is 9 spots better. And one of the craziest rankings, and I know there's a lot of hype around this player, which is why they're moving him more. Ja Morant ranked at 35, Anthony Edwards at 13. They think Anthony Edwards is 22 spots above Ja Morant. They think Anthony Edwards is closer to Nikola Jokic than he is to Ja Morant, in at least terms of player rankings. Nikola Jokic, Giannis, he's closer to them than Ja Morant. That's just insane. They think Karl Anthony Towns is number 20 and Ja Morant is 35. Sabonis 22. and Ja's 35. And I think maybe like 15, 20 guys is just crazy. But those are kind of the outrageous ones. I don't understand why Ja Morant has just fell so much. Like, I understand he's not going to play 25 games. If you want to knock him down a couple spots because of that, fair. But he's still one of the best players in the league, and I don't think he got much worse from the season before. Like, he really didn't get that much worse. It's just the hype around him is gone for some reason, even though he's still one of the most fun players to watch. He's still electric. He still has amazing dunks. But when you look at the comparison from last season, I think his playmaking was the best on-ball playmaking we have seen since. He took a huge playmaking jump. And I know the assist numbers back it up. Of course, assists don't necessarily determine playmaking. 8.1 assists per game. That's really good. Like, he's becoming one of the best playmakers in the entire league. You look at defensive rating, and I know defensive rating doesn't always tell the whole story, but 112 defensive rating. You know, he's becoming a more consistent defender. 0.5 defensive box plus minus. He was a positive defender. 2.6 defensive win shares. He really was not that bad of a defender last year, which is one of his big knocks, you know. Ja Morant, not always a great defender, which some of the guys above him aren't either. Sabonis is not a great defender. Karl Anthony Towns is not a great defender. Anthony Edwards is a good defender. But some of the guys above him aren't great defenders. You know, especially Trae Young above him. I feel like he's one of the guys that's also become a bit underrated at this point. Other than Hawks fans. Hawks fans overrate him so much. NBA fans underrate him a lot. It's, like, very weird. I think Hawks fans are trying to make it up for NBA fans underrating him a lot, so I can't get that mad at them because that's fair enough. But, yeah, I mean, Ja Morant, it just doesn't make sense why people are forgetting about him. His defense improved. His playmaking improved so much. He's legitimately one of the most underrated, like, star playmakers in the entire league. His shooting got incredibly better. I know his three-point shooting declined a lot. He went from, in 2021-2022, shooting 38% from 10 to 16 feet. Last season, shot 46%. You know, 16 feet to 3 points, so pretty much a long mid-range. He shot 24% 2021-2022. But he shot 47% this year. He basically shot double the amount. You know how hard that is to do with shooting percentages? And sadly, I just think it's because the hype around him went away. You know, he became more of an efficient player almost, other than, I can't lie, his shooting, not as efficient. But, you know, his playmaking was better, his defense was better. But the hype around him went away, and for some reason, the NBA media just started to underrate him so much because of that. And it's so confusing. And I think this season, Ja Morant is going to show up once he gets back. You know, he's going to have some of the spotlight when he gets back. 25 games in the season. You know, the NBA, I'm a huge NBA fan, so I'll always be watching NBA. But that's more of a dead spot for some fans. You know, when you get 25 games in the season, that becomes almost mid-season. That's not really, oh, the NBA's back. It's been a couple months. So he's going to take some spotlight there. Hopefully he gets that throughout the whole season, because he's going to prove how good he is. He's going to prove how he's probably going to be top 15-ish, hopefully. If people realize and recognize how good he is again, I think Ja could be top 15. Being next to Marcus Smart's going to help a lot. You know, more defensive-minded basketball player. I know Desmond Bane, he's not as good as Marcus Smart on the defensive side of the ball. So having Marcus Smart there is going to help so much. And I think Ja's ready to show NBA fans again how good he is. I can't wait till 25 games in the season, because I want to see Ja play basketball again. He's a fun player to watch.